Jeffrey Epstein. The name is infamous. When you look at the Epstein case, you're hit with a lot of numbers. A $577 million fortune, a 70-acre private island, 180,000 photos, and over 2,000 videos. Plus over 500 Justice Department lawyers, more than 6 million pages of criminal records, and thousands of victims. And then there are the names: Clinton, Trump, Musk, Hawking, Bill Gates, Prince Andrew. These numbers and names are shocking. The global media has already chewed over the bizarre tales of Lolita Island countless times. But the core mystery of this case has never been about exactly what he did. It's about how he climbed so high in the first place. How did a math teacher, born into a working-class family in Brooklyn without a college degree, who only briefly taught high school, managed to get US presidents, British royals, and tech titans lining up to board his private Boeing 727? In today's episode, we aren't going to focus on the sensationalism or the dark details of the island just yet. First, we need to answer one question. Who exactly was Jeffrey Epstein? Born in 1953, Epstein grew up in a regular working-class Jewish family in Brooklyn, New York. From a young age, he showed incredible talent in math and piano, even skipping 2 grades. After high school, he attended the Cooper Union, a tuition-free, top-tier college, before transferring 2 years later to NYU's elite Math Institute. But strangely, he never managed to graduate from either and left without a single degree. Nobody knows why. Fast forward to 1974, the Upper East Side of Manhattan. This is the playground of old money and new billionaires. You can practically smell the power and wealth in the air. Located right here is the Dalton School, America's most elite private academy. The gates of this school represented a class barrier that ordinary people couldn't cross in 100 lifetimes. On this particular day, a 21-year-old man walked into the office of Dalton's headmaster, Donald Barr. Ironically, this famously strict and conservative headmaster was actually the father of William Barr, who would later serve as the U.S. Attorney General twice. The young man sitting across from the headmaster was Jeffrey Epstein. He handed over a flawless resume, boldly claiming dual degrees in physics and mathematics from a prestigious university. But in reality, every single word on that resume was a lie. The craziest part of this story isn't just that he lied, it's that he actually pulled it off. He successfully conned a system that was supposed to care deeply about background checks and elite credentials. What does this tell us? It shows that Epstein's earliest core talent wasn't finance, and it certainly wasn't teaching. It was camouflage. It was his ability to instantly read what the other person wanted to see, and then package himself into exactly that shape. And just like that, a lower-class dropout con artist strolled through the doors of the Dalton School and walked out with a teaching contract. For Epstein, his time at Dalton was never just about being a teacher. It was his first up-close look at high society. It was the first time he truly got his hands on the children, the language, the etiquette, and the power dynamics of elite families. And he quickly began to show the dark, dangerous traits hidden in his bones. According to the painful memories of several female students decades later, this young physics teacher was definitely not a normal educator. In the classroom, he never wore a traditional teacher's suit. He preferred silk, floral shirts, purposely leaving the top 3 buttons undone to expose a thick patch of chest hair and a massive, flashy, pure gold chain. His eyes rarely looked at the chalkboard. Instead, he locked onto the underage girls in the room. That wasn't the look of a teacher observing his students. It was the look of a hungry predator quietly assessing its prey. He constantly pushed the physical boundaries of a normal student-teacher relationship. When tutoring, he didn't stand politely to the side. Instead, he'd sit right on the edge of a girl's desk, his thigh almost brushing against her arm. He would drape his arm tightly over the back of her chair, leaning in close, breathing right against her neck. If they crossed paths in the hallway, he would even make highly inappropriate and explicit comments about the bodies of these teenage girls. He was like a wolf hiding in a flock of sheep, constantly testing the limits of the rules in the dark. But here is the real question. In a top-tier prep school like Dalton, which valued its reputation above all else, and where parents were either political heavyweights or business titans, why wasn't he immediately thrown out for this blatant, creepy behavior? Were these sharp, wealthy parents entirely blind? The answer is that Epstein was a master manipulator. He knew that to hide his sins, he needed to find an absolute shield. In this world ruled by power, he understood that if you latch onto the biggest, strongest tree around, the ants below can't touch you. He locked his sharp eyes onto one specific boy in his class. The boy was academically average, but he had a background that commanded respect from every teacher and student in the school. He was the son of Alan Greenberg, the Wall Street titan and legendary head of Bear Stearns. Epstein immediately pivoted and rolled out a flawless strategy of manipulation. He showered the boy with attention, offering free one-on-one advanced math tutoring after school, and carefully groomed him, framing himself as an all-knowing life mentor. Through the boy, he cleverly sent a message to the towering Wall Street mogul. In this school full of snobs, only I, Jeffrey Epstein, truly understand your genius son. For most people, a school is a workplace. For him, it was a springboard and an entryway. By 1976, the Dalton Board of Directors and furious parents had finally had enough. Due to his increasingly reckless and inappropriate behavior, the school officially fired him. For a normal person, the story would basically end here. A young guy with a fake resume, controversial behavior, who just got kicked out of an elite prep school, should have fallen right back to the bottom. But Epstein was no ordinary person. When Epstein walked out of Dalton carrying his cardboard box, he didn't panic. As he was being booted from campus, his phone rang. It was Alan Greenberg, the head of Bear Stearns. "Stop teaching at that crummy school and come work on Wall Street." Epstein's master plan to jump social classes was a complete success. He used 2 years to turn a top-tier prep school into his stepping stone to the elite. But when he stepped into the much more brutal jungle of Wall Street, he faced the biggest crisis of his life. After joining Bear Stearns, Wall Street's ruthless background check system kicked into gear. Soon, human resources found a fatal flaw. They couldn't find Jeffrey Epstein's graduation records at any university. His 2 degrees were complete fakes. Normally, when a rookie gets caught red-handed lying about his education, especially in front of top executives at a premier Wall Street investment bank, his knees should buckle. He should be crying, making up tragic excuses, and begging to keep his job. But once again, Epstein showed his unusually sociopathic nature. He was called into an executive's office. Faced with undeniable evidence on the desk and harsh questioning, Epstein didn't flinch. He sat calmly in the expensive leather chair, leaned forward slightly, looked the executive dead in the eye, spread his hands, and delivered his famously bold counter-question. "Yes, I lied. But sir, ask yourself honestly, if I hadn't lied, would you ever have given a poor kid from Brooklyn even a single interview? The point is, I'm making you money, aren't I?" The entire office fell dead silent. In the early 1980s, during the Wall Street era of "greed is good," traditional morals meant nothing. Profit was the only god. Looking at this ruthless, reckless, yet incredibly smart young man who had a brilliant mind for numbers, the head of Bear Stearns didn't feel anger. Instead, he felt a strange sense of admiration. A guy like Epstein, someone who made no secret of his intense hunger for power and wealth, someone willing to tear up all the rules to get what he wanted, was like a fish in water on Wall Street. The ultra-rich desperately needed people exactly like him to handle their dark, hidden, unmentionable assets. Not only was he not fired, he was given more responsibility. This is where we have to mention his incredible memory. He had an almost photographic recall of the incredibly complex U.S. tax code. He knew exactly which clauses could be used for what tricks, what structures saved the most tax, and what combinations of options created the perfect tax shelter, all off the top of his head without ever looking it up. For ultra-rich clients, this made him incredibly valuable. Keeping Epstein around meant saving millions, sometimes tens of millions, in taxes. In just 4 years, by 1981, this 27-year-old broke kid who didn't even graduate college and faked his way into finance became a partner at Bear Stearns, a top Wall Street investment bank. But his wild ride on Wall Street didn't last forever. Soon, Epstein was caught up in an SEC insider trading investigation due to illegal fund maneuvers. He even had the nerve to expense his girlfriend's jewelry bills to the company. Logically, his career in finance should have been completely destroyed. But strangely, not only did he walk away clean with no criminal record, he even left with a nearly $100,000 year-end bonus. Why? One compelling, though unproven theory, is that he took the bullet for higher-ups in the insider trading scandal. In return, the heavyweights at Bear Stearns not only protected him, but kept quietly funneling elite clients his way for decades to come. It was exactly this scandal that completed Epstein's criminal mindset. As long as you keep the dirtiest secrets for powerful people, they will protect you for life. By the late 80s, Epstein left Bear Stearns and founded his own financial firm. He set an incredibly arrogant rule for his company. "I am not a normal financial advisor. My buy-in is $1 billion. I only work for the absolute top tier of the super rich." It was a brilliant mix of artificial scarcity and psychological manipulation. In the financial world, nobody actually knew what he was investing in, and nobody had ever seen his public products or return reports. But his secretive, mysterious act actually made billionaires, who had more money than they knew what to do with, believe he was a genius. Very soon, he locked on to the one true and most important mega backer of his life. Les Wexner, the founder of the internationally famous lingerie brand, Victoria's Secret. At the time, even though Wexner owned a massive business empire, the highly closed-off, snobby old money families of New York still just saw him as a Midwestern merchant who got rich selling women's underwear. Deep down, Wexner desperately wanted to be accepted into that top tier, woven with power and secrets. Epstein perfectly targeted this psychological weak spot, and he began a truly terrifying parasitic attachment. He launched a full psychological assault on Wexner. He was no longer just a financial advisor. He turned himself into Wexner's closest friend, his toughest proxy, and even his fixer who did the dirty work. Even more terrifyingly, Epstein began to systematically isolate Wexner. He sowed discord, driving away loyal executives and veterans who had been by Wexner's side for decades, ensuring that in Wexner's world, the only voice left was Jeffrey Epstein's. By 1991, this long-term psychological manipulation and deep enmeshment finally produced jaw-dropping results. Wexner made a decision that left his entire Wall Street legal and accounting team thinking he had lost his mind. He signed a full power of attorney, handing over total legal control. This document handed Epstein a terrifying amount of power. Epstein could now dive into Wexner's massive personal fortune, drain trust funds, dump stocks, and even buy hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate directly under Wexner's name, all without needing Wexner's actual signature. Wexner had completely opened the doors to his vault to the devil. Armed with Wexner's bottomless checkbook, Epstein began an unbelievable campaign to build an elaborate facade. He used Wexner's money to buy the largest private mansion in New York City, a massive 7-story property on the Upper East Side, spanning over 28,000 square feet. To put that into perspective, that is like forcefully shoving 6 standard indoor basketball courts right into the most expensive real estate in New York. He even bought a Boeing 727 private jet. By the 1990s, Epstein had fully completed his jump up the social ladder. He possessed wealth beyond the imagination of ordinary people and a private jet ready for takeoff at a moment's notice. But if you think he bought a private jet just to go on vacation, you're dead wrong. He was going to turn this plane into a spider web to capture the highest powers on the globe. He was no longer satisfied with just controlling the wallet of one billionaire. He wanted to control the deepest desires and secrets of the most powerful people running the world. How did Epstein use a British socialite named Ghislaine Maxwell to build his horrifying pyramid recruitment system? And how did massively powerful figures like Britain's Prince Andrew and tech titan Bill Gates walk step by step into his abyss? If you want to understand the real mechanisms behind the biggest power scandal in global history, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next episode.